Welcome to Kraut observations number 120. And we want to go straight. Too bad there's a car in the way. Oh, great! I needed a new bumper anyway. Now I'm getting one for free. Such are the situations which show you how valuable a dashcam is. Because without it, if the other person said we rear-ended them, how would you prove that they front-ended you? Ah, great. Frickin' lights and those goddamn pedestrians. Too bad it's illegal to run them over. Is what this guy probably thinks, because the light is not holding him back. Ah, professionals at work, I see. When you're being that good at driving, looking at the road is pretty much optional. Oh boy, I hope this dude is realizing how much the car itself saved his ass with the help of ESP. However, ESP is no magic utility that can handle everything. A few years back, our man Leon checked this out at the driving safety course.
Oder zurückbleiben. Nicht in der Kurve stehen bleiben. Gegen, jawohl! Das war ganz sauber abgeliefert.
What's up with you, dude? Watch your lane. Oh well, but concerning watching, that truck driver seems to be in the middle of a Windows update for his eyes. Same here, just ignoring someone's right of way.
Faktor 1.
So, Sammo, zu Schaden oder was?
10 Todesopfer.
Ah, the face palm. The guy can't really see, but goes anyway. So many drivers do this. Where is the goddamn common sense? When I can't see, my brain automatically goes into status, someone could appear at any possible second. So that very skilled driver forced our man into a hard swerve and he slammed his tires onto the curb. I would seriously check those tires, because this curb looks rather sharp and the tires might have suffered internal damages, which you don't see and then they suddenly disintegrate at 100 miles an hour on the freeway. I don't think anybody would fancy that. Speed bumps are usually not that bad for tires, but they will mess with your suspension and chassis if you are going too fast. And our friend here either doesn't understand this simple physical concept, or he just doesn't care about his old Volvo. Yeah, red light, who cares? Honestly, what is the purpose of this one here? The little side road also got a mobile light, but why are you putting systems in place for regulating traffic when there is no traffic to regulate? Roads like this normally don't have lights in Germany, but a regular right-of-way regulation. And I guess those drivers know this spot, and they simply don't accept the artificial command for stopping when there is no need in sight. But you should refrain from coming up with such judgments when you are a beginner. Like this poor person here. Green light, time to get this steel box moving. Give it another try. Oh well, driving stick shift is a whole different story than automatics. 90% of Americans would look very much the same with such a car. I personally love and always prefer to drive stick. Our man has a heart and places himself next to this one and gives advice through the window how to do it properly. Because even though the other one has probably learned it in driving school, when there is nobody there anymore to give feedback in stressful situations, some people just end up feeling lost. Well, controlling a car properly is no simple task after all. Stick shift, quite a bit more than automatics. But once you got that, there's basically nothing you can't drive. One of the not so complicated tasks of driving, however, is to simply recognize red lights and stop. Another thing that shouldn't be very complicated is to recognize huge vehicles on the road. The crash driver stated they were blinded by the low sun. Seeing the sunlight here, this sounds believable, but then the question would be, why do you keep going at unchanged speed when you don't see anything? What did I just mention about common sense? The sad thing is, very often people would have proper vision, but simply don't look. The carelessness really hurts, and I'm not even the one getting hit. Same here.
Hey!
Yeah, it's totally impossible to recognize something behind you. In my personal opinion, even tiny hits in a parking lot are very critical. Not for the cars, but when somebody doesn't recognize objects while almost standing, how can you expect him to recognize people and cyclists and other obstacles at traveling speeds? Makes me question such people's ability to properly use a vehicle as a whole. Especially in this case here, because this person did not even recognize this hit and gives it a second try to get out of the parking spot. Our man needed to stop the person and explain to them what just happened. However, funny enough, since his bumper already had previous damages, he let it slip and there were no consequences for the other person. Which makes me rather worried, because you get an idea how limited their abilities are in regular traffic. Also, the reverse light on that car isn't working. Gotta wonder if something is broken, which rarely happens, or if the other person wasn't even in reverse and the car just rolled backwards. Many questions, many worries. Another cause for worries are kids and teenies in traffic. Like riding on the left side of the road, yeah. This cyclist here is an adult, and he's pissed that the car didn't stop for him at the crossing. But little does he seem to know that only pedestrians have priority at such crossings. I guess this guy is assuming that bike lanes are also for little cars. The scooter over there is already indicating to the left, because he wants to turn left in a second. But of course he's got to wait for the S-Class. More expensive vehicles always come first, didn't know that? You don't need a doctor's degree to understand that the job of a taxi driver is very much dependent on their driving license. So I am wondering why they come up with so many actions that are putting that license on the line. And also the life of others, not that anyone seems to care. This one is not a taxi driver, but you gotta wonder... Is this intentional, or are those people just so incredibly oblivious? I really don't know what's worse. Ooh, this guy with the trailer has a cool ability. He's able to see through solid matter, like those trees. Question, is it worth your life to gain 5 seconds? Don't you annoy me with details! What a dashcam position. It's really good for analyzing the pavement quality. In any case, this is a truck and it's going uphill. 80 is too fast. Somebody needs to change that.
Bist du denn total bescheuert?
Our man keeps raging for a while, and justifiably so. Not only does he need 2.5 new moons to get back to speed, but it's an unnecessary risk for a crash. And a truck crashing into a car or a van will leave you with nothing identifiable. Now from the truck to the car, and apparently the right lane is lava and needs to be evacuated ASAP. But of course, mirrors or shoulder check are optional. No need to be a good driver when others can pay attention. And I'm sure this BMW driver over there will agree to that. You would assume that in the Netherlands, cyclists would pay a little more attention. At least, as a cyclist, you only endanger yourself. Oblivious car drivers, on the other hand, are the reason why so many people suffer and die. It's an uncomfortable truth, but a solid fact. Nothing is as dangerous as being out in traffic. And on this positive note, I will leave you behind now. Remember to subscribe to this place, and if you feel comfy, here is more content for you. It's best enjoyed with some Coke and some chips. Now go on, you gotta get it rolling.